Hey, welcome back, guys. So we left off um, pretty much in part one. This is a part two series of part one, um, where we installed a second client machine within nested environment. So um, install nested in a virtual machine, and then install the Windows machine. We left off and we error code uh, noted that it was a monitor issue. So I did fix it, and I'm now able to. You'll notice that the dragging and dropping is a little bit, but we can fix that after the Windows 10 installation is complete. I can install the Windows drivers using the VMware tools installation. So you might have to be a little bit patient with that because it does drag and it's very, very slow and laggy. So I'm going to go ahead and power off this machine. Show you how it was done. So first thing I did was in the display, I made sure that the accelerated 3D graphics is turned on. And added a number of machines, 2 machines, so that I'm able to drag and drop between both machines. Manually specifying the number and size of the monitor may prevent Unity and full screen modes, but yeah, it does work. It's set for 2 monitors if you want to stretch it, depending on your graphics card driver, if it's able to do it within the machine, but there shouldn't be any issues. You can automatically adjust it. You could also put it back to use whole setting for the monitors so that you're using 1 monitor for it instead of 2. And we want to ensure that the graphics memory is at least 8 gigs recommended, up to 16 gigs. The total virtual machine memory can be adjusted in the memory settings page. And okay, so let's turn off the machine. In my parent laptop, this is my laptop. So this acts as my laptop. That's a virtual machine. Within that, first thing I did was I gave 4 processors and I gave it 8 GB RAM. I also extended the monitors here. Not a big deal, but again, you could if you want to. And in the processors, I also enabled virtualization engine. So you may want to turn that off and initialize that because that's part of the issue as to why that normally happens with the monitor issue. I also edited the it opens up. Guys, be patient. Sorry. All right. Okay. So I was also able to enable and add this value code. So you want to grab that value of code on a piece of paper and, add it to the end of your code before you turn it on. So you would add it here, right click, paste that there as is. Make sure that it's spaces and all. If it's not going to work. And once you're done, I want you to save it to the same location. You're basically overwriting it. And that was one of the other steps. When I also created the machine again, I now added the Windows 10 ISO from the download section. So do you remember in the last session, we created the image disk? So I created the Windows 10 image disk, and I open that. And okay, make sure I have internet. To the domain. I'm just gonna be showing you guys how to create a virtual machine. It's pretty straightforward. Those are just the basics. And then power on the machine. It's a little laggy. Again, the more the more and hit OK. Power requested power in progress. Okay, and you'll see that the 3D support available is from the host now. Once that's done, you'll notice that right there allows it to work. And just want to see if I made any other changes before I show you guys. Sure if it was in the advanced options. Yeah, I changed that to BIOS as well. I removed the BIOS and changed that to BIOS and hit OK. That should work. Turn that off again. I want to make sure there's my laptop currently has. Just want to make sure you guys understand what the settings are like, how the settings look. So my laptop, this is UEFI and enter. And then this one is BIOS. Change that to BIOS. I'm going to turn this off. Let's see what happens when I change this to BIOS. Power off. Power off the machine. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and change the settings. I want you guys to do the same thing. Options. Go to advanced. Change that back to UEFI. Since we're not enabling BitLocker or we don't need to turn on TPM chip. So we'll just leave it as is for now and we will test it. Running VMware in a virtual machine will result in degraded performance. Yes, of course. And again, the more memory, the more memory allocated and RAM, that'll basically allow it to continue. So we're going to want it to continue. And I'm going to go ahead and post that, put that in my notes here for now. And then do not show. See what happens. Port is available from host. 3D features of the virtual machine are turned on. So this is where we're going to double click. So you're going to see yourself timed out. The reason why is you need to kind of click once you see the ad, click to install DVD, a CD DVD. So you want to use Control Alt on your keyboard, and that'll remove you off the virtual machine and back on. So this will give you time to restart it. So we're going to restart it again. So restart it. So restart the guest. Once we restart it, click, And then once you see the any key to boot, press any key, and that'll go ahead and install the Windows 10 machine. So I'm going to go ahead and write notes on that for part 2. So installed Windows 10 in a nested environment. And VMX file, which we can open in Notepad and edit it in Notepad. Just let me double check what that code was before I start. So we are going to change the time and currency to Canada. Press OK. Next. It might seem laggy again. We'll fix that issue in time. We'll install in VMware tools. That's how you fix that problem. Okay, so this is the location. So I'm going to go ahead and open file location. So the file location is here. That's our file location. Documents and whatever. So this file here, we right click and we open with Notepad. So that file, Control F, Vhv.allow true. So that's going to be the code I'm going to be using. So we've installed Windows 10 Pro, which is now complete. So we can remove that from the Windows 10. We've downloaded the Windows 10 Media, created the Pro. We installed the Windows 10 Pro on a Windows 10 machine. VM, and then install Windows 10 inside. Then installed Windows 10 inside of the nested virtual machine. So once that's done, and then you make sure you save it. We overwrite the file. Once that file is overwritten, close it, and then right click again. Settings. Once we create that new machine, again, we get a 4 memory, 2-core processor, NAT, and we give it the ISO image. So in this case, ISO image. I want to explain a little bit about you know, what the difference between bridged and non-bridged. I'm just gonna annotate here for a second. Okay, so in networking, by default, there are network adapters that are added, and that is used to share the host address. So behind it, you're not really exposed. And again, that protocol is network as address translation. Behind that, you're not exposed to your home network. What happens is this network gets its IP from the DHCP that's sitting from and inside the VMware workstation, and then grabs the internet from your physical network and gives internet connection to you so that you're able to get internet. NAT also uses the used to share the host IP address, um, and it also uses PIP, where public IP can give internet connection with the help of NAT to 1,000 private IPs or base VMs. And and NAT, again, NAT works like this. It only works in 3 private IP ranges. So let me explain to you what private ranges are. Let's talk about private ranges. So this translation, we have different private ranges, and in that NAT, we have 3 different ranges. Um, let's say, for example, right? Then you add in 2.0.0.0, right? And then you have 192.168.0.0. Now, these IPs are not routable because they're subnet mask. So again, it's just a way of kind of explaining to that, where we can share those hosts within that product. See if I can type in here. So 172.16.2.16. That's 192.168.0.0. These addresses are non-routable addresses. And reserved for private networks. In private IPs, these 3 networks are typically the networks that are used in an environment in that. So again, like when you're creating these 3, they're really called your class A, class B, and your class C. Class A, 172.16. And again, this ranges to 10 255.255.255. And this is our class B. These are the three types of classes for IPv4. PV version 4, and this is our class B. And that runs again to 172, I think, to 31-255.255. Okay, and then we also have our class C, and this depends on who your provider is and what they can provide to you. You'll see these IP ranges, these private IP ranges used a lot, and these three classes. And there's also obviously there's public address ranges, but this is going to be your starting address, right? Start to finish, I call it IPv4 private address range. Start to finish. It's called the start to finish. So these ranges, again, they range from whatever. So whatever your you use in your environment, please, you can decide to use it however you like. This is our class C, and again, class C is 192.168.0.0, and this one finishes at 192.168.255.255, and these are not routable addresses. They are set up for private networks, such as this. We also have software addresses, and we also have host addresses, but we're not going to get too involved and deep into that. I think this is a /8 subnet, and if I'm not mistaken, can't remember the other ones off the top of my head, but I think /12, right? And then we also have class C. Piece. We can use these three classes to create them. So I'll just make sure that you're aware of, I think it's 16 bytes, CIRD 16. So again, these are just work. So basically, they're just used to identify the devices in my private network. So when I'm creating them, I can send multiple devices as long as they're not on the public internet. There's also, I can also touch base on, external DNS and, DNS. We can touch base on DNS as well. And how DNS has external DNS and internal DNS to our environment. We're going to be using our internal. So with the ranges that we have here. Just a little bit of a side hustle. It's not really part of this message. I just thought I'd bring just a little something extra for you to kind of understand the different classes and how the different classes work. Yeah, let's close that up. Okay. We also have bridge network. Okay, so bridge network is just connected directly to your physical network. It gets the IP from your home DSL or router. Nothing too and it's not really exposed to your home network, so it's behind it. So you're not really exposed to your home network. Nothing too spectacular about that. And we also have our custom specific virtual networks, and our networks are custom. There's 19 different networks in this thing, in this version here. So there's 19 different virtual networks. They're separate, basically just separate independent networks, and the machines inside can communicate with each other, but not communicate outside of the network with any other network. So it's just communicating. So if I have four machines that want to communicate with each other, those four machines need to be in a specific network. And I'll show you, open up a diagram here. A little bit smaller. So say, for example, I have three machines. Three machines. They almost be in the same virtual network. And again, I pick any virtual network I want. Doesn't matter what you pick. There's no particular order. Uh, okay. So this has let's say this is VMnet 1, this is VMnet 1, this is VMnet 2, and this is VMnet 3. So this diagram, VMnet 1 can communicate with each other in a custom network. Do not communicate with VMnet 2 and VM 3. So if I want to add an extra machine, I need to make sure that I add that to the same VMnet network, so that it picks up the same communication and is able to communicate and ping and resolve DNSs. Yep. There's also host only. Host only is not really something that's of importance in this aspect. Um, it's not really exposed to a physical network. It's just a private network shared with the host. It doesn't get internet. It's just a lonely machine in a VMware network, in a VMware workstation. Private network shared with a host. That's what the host is. Just a private network shared with the host. Um, then there's also leg segment if you want to start, stop, and restart a group of machines. And this is where you would want to maintain them. So you can, create lag segments and add, different lag segments and whatnot. There's also network adapter advance. You can, balance the incoming and outgoing transfers. Not important in this situation. So in this case, we're just going to leave it to that. Don't want to communicate it to any other network right now. It's just going to be a work group machine. That acts like a standalone client. And ready to go. I'll go ahead and cancel that out. Activate Windows, hit next. Don't have product. We're going to select Windows 10 Pro. And next. All right. accept license terms. Click next. You might experience a little bit of lagging, but it's okay. We'll fix that a little bit later on. Custom install, not upgrading it. So we're just gonna leave this as is. Click next. You're more than welcome to create different allocate different spaces, format to the way you want. Gonna go ahead and install. I'll be right back until it's done. The machine is now completed. Welcome back. So you can see the machine is completed. And we're now able to complete the setup and add your usernames and okay, so this is where we're just going to follow the instructions. It's pretty straightforward from there. It's not, we don't have to install Windows 10. Just to give you an idea of how. Let's select yes. We should skip the second setup, but we'll add French and next. What would you like to use? We're going to use the English. And oh, so back. Wait, well, that completes. should finish. Once that's done. And what it is. Give this machine 8 GB processor. I think the first time it sets it, you just have memory. So it should actually decrease once we're done. Hopefully it should decrease now. Again, the machine itself has 4 GB. It shouldn't use the full 4 GB, but hopefully, again, the more memory you add, the better it is. All right. So we're going to be using this for organization. Click setup for your organization. Okay. Click next. Okay. We are not going to be signing the Microsoft account. We will be signing with domain joined instead. So we'll just create a local user account and we'll call it administrator. Click next. And administrators, probably that's why it's probably located. Okay, so we'll just call it company name admin, and that'll be your direct account or for this machine, or you can just call it whatever you want. First name, and then admin. Right. In this case, we'll just give it a quick C or in production admin. Production admin. And a password. Forget it. Yeah, this you can just put whatever you want. One. Doesn't matter. You should just have it uniform. Create any question. Doesn't matter what it is. Just go here. This one's called IP2. 2. Next. And then same thing. Doesn't matter. 3. Click next. Yep, so we're continue by importing from your other browser. No, not now. This is actually a new feature. So you can browse the web using Microsoft and bring the browser as your favorites, browse get your cookies. We're not going to do that in this case. If you want to learn more, you just click on the Learn More button. Not now, and then click Next. Geolocations. Yes. On a device. Yes. No. You have a pen, make sure you type that in. So some companies want to use their pen. So we'll click yes. Diagnostic data is no, I don't want that. Advertising, no. And this you can cater to however you'd like. Make changes however you'd like. We're gonna skip this step. Don't need to customize the experience. Cortana, not now. Again, in an environment, we can, use GPOs and configuration policies to configure those. I think after this, I'm going to show you guys how to install a Windows 11 machine, which is a little bit different. I can start that now. Should be able to start that now. Since we're done here. Almost done here, so it's didn't take that much. So we'll just create a blank machine, blank machine, and this is going to be typical. We're not going to install it. Again, this will create an error if you do. So we're going to want to avoid that issue by not selecting any of this. And then we are going to select Windows, and we are going to select Windows 11. In Workstation 17, Windows 11 is a new version. It's been added, and I think they've also added Server 2022 and 2025. So they've added that. Oh, there's your Windows 10. So I'm going to go ahead and just connect that for now. Call that, and I'm going to save it in our location and our virtual machines. And I'm going to create another folder within it and just call it Windows 11. VM. Test. Today's date, which is the 10th September 2024. Folder. Click outside, click back in, and OK. Once that's in, I'll click next. So in this version, we guest OS usually requires your trusted deployment module to operate. So we are going to encrypt all of the files and put a password. We can also generate a password. I can save that password here and remember that password and then confirm that password. Next. And this is again, we're going to use 120. We're going to follow suit and split it. Again, splitting the disks makes it much more easier, especially when you're moving and migrating virtual machines to another computer. Sort of like what I did. I had some virtual machines in one disk, and I was able to now move them um, from one disk to another, which is kind of cool. Moving those disks. So especially if I'm moving those disks from here to here, the smaller the packet sizes are, the files are, the quicker the transfer location, the transfer is between machines and disks. And hit next, and then finish. We'll go back to our Windows 10 machine. Full screen mode. Click continue. Oh, we're not going to transfer that data. Don't allow. Again, this is quick. Just don't allow, confirm, continue without the data. Again, we're not transferring anything, so we're not allowing that experience. We're going to not choose not allow. Start and confirm. I don't really care about that, so I'm going to minimize the screen. So we're going to fix this screen, the slow dragging, the jiggling. You can't move the mouse issue. And I've already I've already mounted the CD DVD for the VMware tools, and I think it should be here in our D drive. Yeah, there we go. Double click, and then just hit the auto run. Oh, sorry. Let's get that and choose the 64 setup. That's right. And then we'll shut it down. Instead of rebooting it, we'll just shut it down and just allocate some space for this 11. Let this run. And this is pretty straightforward. It's just the next finish. That should be done. And I will see what else we need to give here. Specify 2 monitors. It'll okay. Network, as we discussed. And we're going to give it UEFI and enable secure boot. Again, we enable secure boot for let's go back to our Windows 10 machine. Finish. I'll have to reboot this machine. No, and I will. Let's go back to system when version. Oh, There we go, 22H2 build, and it should be a work group. So here's the machine that's not connected to the domain. It should be a work group domain, applications, and that's how you install a Windows 10 ISO image on a nested virtual environment within VMware Workstation. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to install Windows 11 machine. So I'm going to power this down because I don't need it no more. Power it down. Power off. Shut down guest. I'll power down the machine. This is the same aspect here. See if we can get the Windows 11 ISO image. So I will download it for you guys. Download. We're going to download Windows 11. We are going to create the multi-edition, or we can create the installation media. Then install Windows 11 that we can use. And again, I can put this on a USB or DVD and create that. Downloading yet. Okay, there we go. I'll just open up that. Download. And okay. I am going to move this creation tool actually. This on the way here. Let's copy. Copy. It's good here. Put it on the desktop. There we go. Double click. Again, in this instance, TPM is 2.0 is used for BitLocker and to upgrade from Windows 10 to 11. So without TPM, I won't be able to upgrade to 10 to 11 if I wanted to. So you'll want to make sure that you install that for it. So set up the devices for Windows 11. Okay. Download, install Windows 11 on a virtual machine workstation. Okay, so here's our Windows 11 language. We're going to choose the language edition 11. Click next. We're going to create an ISO and burn it to a DVD later. Or if we want, you can add it to a USB flash drive. That's at least 8 gigs or more. But in this case, we're going to create an ISO file. This is the 23H2 version. Next. And we're going to wait till it starts downloading. Okay. So the only difference we see here is the trusted platform module when we were creating that virtual machine, which is now present in the settings. And that'll render any encrypted data that on the VM uncoverable. So that's if we're going to be enabling BitLocker on the machine itself. Ah. So since that's done, I'm going to show you guys how to create a snapshot. And in this case, I am going to take another snapshot, and I'll call it snapshot 2, today's date and time. And this one we installed Windows 10 OS and configured settings, created admin account, and security questions. Today's date. That's it. Take snapshot. Okay, so 21%. I also created a policy, a local policy on this Windows 10 machine. It's kind of local to it, and show you where this is. This can also be created on a GP. Oh, so I'm going to open up the local policy, and I think it was in Windows settings on this machine, or administrative templates system. Oh, device guard. There we go. And turn on virtualization-based security. I disabled that. This was off. So what this using is Hypervisor to provide support for security services, virtualization, which requires secure boot and can optionally be enabled with the DMA protection. DMA protections usually require support and will only be enabled. So virtualization-based protection for code integrity. This enables the protection of kernel mode code integrity. Turning this off turns off the virtualization-based protection of code, which was previously turned on with the enable without lock option. So enable it with UEFI lock, again, on the settings itself. Yeah, without the lock option, okay? So I've actually disabled that. And that can go in conjunction with Windows security. In certain cases, if you go to Windows security, go to device security and core isolation for virtualization-based security products. If you click on the details itself, make sure that this is turned off because this will prevent from malicious attacks into a high security process. So again, you can always click on the learn more button to read more about it. Just protects the core processes of it. You know, for the hypervisors secure. So it just makes it difficult for low-level drivers to hijack your computer. Turning the memory integrity off. So this driver is sort of like a piece of software that lets the operating system devices like your keyboard and webcam, for example, to talk to each other. When the device wants the Windows to do something, it uses the driver to send it the request. So turn it off. It's pretty straightforward. Turn it on or off. At this point, it's to use the memory, we must have the virtualization enabled. So if we enable it, that's the only way it'll work. So we can actually check to see if it works or not since we've enabled virtualization. And then we should be able to, but in this case, we need to make sure that we turn it off. Right. So take a look at this, read some more. See if you want to learn some more again. We'll take this section here, copy, read, read. Okay. I'll close that. Close that. I'm not going to touch anything right now. But again, that works in conjunction with that. And then I run GP update and restarted the machine. I was able to nest my virtual machines within a virtual machine. Gonna wait for this to finish. Is it 97%? Okay. I don't need. I'm not gonna install Windows 11. I'm just gonna hold it to see if it works. And then we'll move on to the next topic, Oracle virtual machines, and I'll show you guys how to use that. It's pretty easy. And this is all per choice, uh, based on whatever you want to use. And this over to part 3. So our next video, I'm going to use Oracle VirtualBox Manager to download the Oracle VirtualBox Manager and install it. At any point, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message me at any time, or join one of my free sessions. Or just send me a message, and I'll be glad to. Almost done. More percent. Create new data centers. Click on the domain level. New organizational unit. We'll call this Canada Data Center. Data Center. create another one. I click new view. This is going to be our US data center. Protect the container from accidental deletion. And then I'm going to create some cities in here. Toronto. And Mississauga. Montreal. And we'll create a US container. Right click, new, Boston. And we'll create another one called US new organizational unit. We'll call it New York. Okay. And we will move this to the US. So we're going to click move, and we should be able to move it within the US data center. Okay. Okay, so Windows cannot move object because access is denied. So the reason why that's happening is because of this. So if we go to properties and we go to security, sorry, object, protecting the object from accidental deletion. If we uncheck that and apply it, we should be able to move the OUs as fit, which is good because it's for security. And then we should be able to move it to the US data center now, and then hit OK, and then go back into and then move Boston as well too. So we'll go ahead, properties, object, protection, apply, and hit OK. I could have, built the machines within it, but I just showed you how to quickly build some machines. I can also build, another new machine within the organizational unit and give it a call and call it, let's say, Scarborough, right? We'll call it, I don't know, a little further, London. Okay. Right. That's also in Ontario. So I should be able to move or drag and drop within it if it allows me. Yeah. So I just need to go back and right click, go to the properties, and protect that from deleting. So they want the company to delete it or make changes to that. So we'll go back to Boston here, right click, properties, and object, and protect, apply, and hit OK. Hit the refresh button. Refresh button. Okay, so we have my Canada data center, and we have the hopefully if I go to properties, security, object, protect, hit OK, apply, hit OK, and I should be able to move Ontario into Canada. See what happens. There you go. And then go back to Canada, Ontario, right click, properties, protect, apply, hit OK. So it's pretty straightforward. And then refresh. So let's go to our administrator groups, members, and domain admins. And we're going to ensure that our domain admins are okay. So our domain admins are there, and our policy creators, and we have our built-in policies, which is our administrators group. And there you go, should be there. So I am an administrator. Okay. Okay. Cancel. And then minimize. Okay. Back to this machine. We are now able to finish it. And then I should now be able to copy this. Copy. Let's see. I should be able to um, all of this. Let's do something here. Share. Go to settings, options, options, enable to share folders. We're going to add let's go on our nested virtual machines. Right, right click on all our virtual machines here. Edit the virtual machine. Let's see here, here, downloads, and I put that virtual machine there. I also want to share the folder, enable it, map that so that it stays. So each time it adds, it installs that host path, browse, and then we're going to mount the downloads. Next, enable the share, and then next. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and power on this machine. There you go. Again, once you see the clickable, I should be able to install it from then. And there you have it. You've installed Windows 10 and Windows 11. Let's go ahead and change the time currency to Canada. Let's see if we can find Canada. Okay. All right. Canada. See if we can find English Canada. There we go. English Canada. There we go. Oh, English Canada. Oh, English Canada. Yeah, and then click next. Install now. And next, finished. All right, thanks very much again for joining me in these last two parts. I'd like to thank you. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment and hit that subscribe button, okay? Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Okay, thank you.